Right now, as you're watching this video, someone in your life is manipulating you. And the worst part? You're helping them do it. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you're angry. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. And every single day, you're slowly erasing yourself to make others comfortable. Carl Jung called this the tyranny of the persona, and it's killing your authentic self. But what if I told you there's a daily practice rooted in Jungian psychology that can break this cycle forever? What if you could stop being a people pleaser without becoming selfish? What if you could finally live as your true self? By the end of this video, you'll have the exact framework Jung used to help thousands escape this trap. But first, I need you to do something right now. Pause this video for 10 seconds and think of the last time you said yes when you really wanted to say no. Got it? Good. Remember that moment. We're coming back to it. Section 1. The hidden cost of people-pleasing. Let me tell you about Sarah. Successful marketing executive, loving mother, always the first to volunteer. Everyone loved Sarah. The problem? Sarah was disappearing. She worked late to avoid disappointing her boss, even when her family needed her. She agreed to social events she hated because she feared rejection. She apologized constantly for her opinions, her needs, even for existing. Sound familiar? If this resonates with you, drop a comment below with just the word mirror. Don't explain why. Just mirror. Jung discovered that people pleasers aren't actually kind. They're terrified. They've confused love with approval and authenticity with selfishness. But here's what most psychology misses. People-pleasing isn't just about low self-esteem. It's about what Jung called shadow projection. You see, when you constantly accommodate others, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're projecting your own capacity for anger, disappointment, and rejection onto them. You assume they'll react the way your unconscious self would react. Think about it. When someone says no to you, how do you really feel? If you're honest, there's probably anger there, disappointment, maybe even a desire for revenge. So you assume everyone else feels the same way. This is the shadow at work. The parts of yourself you've rejected are controlling your behavior. Right now, I want you to think of someone who makes you feel like you have to walk on eggshells. Picture their face. Now ask yourself, what part of me am I afraid they'll see? Jung taught that the shadow contains not just our darkness, but our power. People-pleasers have often shadowed their capacity for healthy anger, firm boundaries, and authentic self-expression. They've made these qualities bad, so they live in fear of them appearing. But here's the revolutionary insight. The people you're trying to please often lose respect for you, precisely because you have no boundaries. They sense your inauthenticity, even if they can't name it. Real story, I once worked with a client who discovered that his difficult boss actually respected the employees who pushed back against unreasonable demands. The people pleasers? They got more work dumped on them and were passed over for promotions. The cost of people-pleasing isn't just your happiness, it's your effectiveness, your relationships, and ultimately, your soul. So what did Jung propose? He called it individuation. But that word doesn't capture the revolutionary nature of what he discovered. Jung realized that most people live their entire lives as somebody else. They wear what he called a persona, a mask designed to get approval from their family, their culture, their peers. But the persona is not you. It's a character you play. Think about this. Describe yourself in one sentence as if you were introducing yourself to strangers. Now ask, is this description based on who you really are or who you think you should be? The path out of people-pleasing begins with what Jung called shadow integration. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or cruel. It means reclaiming the parts of yourself you've rejected in order to be good. Here's Jung's daily practice for breaking people-pleasing patterns. The 4-step shadow integration process. Step 1. The daily shadow shadek. Every evening, ask yourself, what did I feel today that I didn't express? Not what you thought, what you felt. Anger, disappointment, excitement, desire, all of it. Write it down. Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Just acknowledge it. Jung called this holding the tension of the opposites. Step 2. The projection withdrawal. When someone triggers a strong reaction in you, especially judgment or fear, ask, what is this person showing me about myself? If someone's selfishness bothers you, maybe you need to develop healthy selfishness. If someone's anger scares you, maybe you need to reclaim your own capacity for righteous anger. Step 3. The authentic response practice. Before automatically saying yes to any request, pause and ask, what is my authentic response to this? Not what you should feel, not what a good person would feel, what you actually feel. Then, and this is crucial, find a way to honor that authentic response, even if it's uncomfortable. Step 4. The individuation. Question daily, ask yourself, what would I do today if I didn't need anyone's approval? Pause this video right now and answer that question. What would you do today if you didn't need anyone's approval? Write it down before continuing. Jung discovered that people who complete this daily practice undergo what he called the transcendent function. They integrate their shadow and emerge as individuated beings who can be genuinely caring without being people-pleasers. But here's where most people get stuck. They think individuation means becoming cold or selfish. They think setting boundaries means hurting people. This is the biggest misunderstanding of Jung's work. True individuation actually makes you more compassionate, not less. When you're not desperately seeking approval, you can respond to others from a place of choice rather than compulsion. You can say no when appropriate and yes when it serves everyone involved. Jung worked with a patient who was a compulsive helper, always taking care of everyone else's problems, never saying no, constantly exhausted. Through shadow work, she discovered that her helping was actually a form of control. She couldn't tolerate others being upset or disappointed. When she integrated this shadow aspect, something amazing happened. She became genuinely helpful. Instead of compulsively rescuing people, she offered support when it was truly needed and stepped back when it wasn't. Her relationships improved dramatically. This is the paradox of individuation. You become more authentically loving by becoming more authentically yourself. Section 3. The people pleaser's unconscious patterns. But let's go deeper. Jung identified specific unconscious patterns that trap people pleasers. Understanding these patterns is crucial because you can't change what you can't see. Pattern 1. The inflation-deflation cycle. People pleasers alternate between feeling special because they're so selfless and feeling worthless because their needs don't matter. This is what Jung called inflation and deflation of the ego. The inflation: I'm such a good person because I always put others first. The deflation: I don't matter. My needs aren't important. Both are false. Both keep you trapped. Think about the last week. When did you feel superior because of your selflessness? When did you feel worthless because you ignored your own needs? Notice the pattern. Pattern 2. The parent-child dynamic. Many people-pleasers are unconsciously trying to win the love they didn't get as children. They treat everyone like the parent who might finally approve of them if they're just good enough. Jung called this the eternal child archetype. The eternal child believes that if they're perfect, they'll finally be loved unconditionally. But here's the hard truth. The approval you're seeking from others is the approval you need to give yourself. Pattern 3. The savior complex. People-pleasers often have an unconscious savior complex. They believe others can't handle disappointment, conflict, or their authentic self. This is profoundly disrespectful. When you constantly accommodate others, you're essentially saying, "You're too fragile to handle the real me." This creates the very rejection you're trying to avoid. Think of someone you're always trying to protect from disappointment or conflict. Now honestly ask, am I respecting their strength, or am I treating them like they're fragile? Pattern 4. The false responsibility. People-pleasers take responsibility for other people's emotions. If someone is upset, it must be their fault. If someone is disappointed, they must fix it. Jung would say, you are responsible to others, not for others. You're responsible to be honest, to keep your commitments, to treat others with respect. You're not responsible for their feelings, their reactions, or their happiness. This distinction is revolutionary. It means you can care deeply about someone without feeling compelled to control their emotional state. Now, let me share Jung's most powerful insight about people-pleasing. The shadow of the people-pleaser. Jung discovered that people-pleasers' shadows often contain healthy aggression, appropriate selfishness, and the ability to disappoint others without guilt. These aren't negative qualities. They're essential for authentic relationships. But because people-pleasers have made these qualities bad, they show up in distorted ways. Passive aggression instead of direct communication, resentment instead of healthy boundaries, martyrdom instead of self-care. The solution isn't to become selfish or aggressive. It's to integrate these shadow qualities consciously and constructively. Here's a practical example. Instead of passive-aggressively resenting someone for taking advantage of your time, you learn to say, "I'm not available for that, but I hope you find another solution." This is shadow integration in action, using your capacity for disappointment appropriately, rather than suppressing it until it becomes resentment. Section 4. The daily practice. Detailed breakdown. Now let's break down the exact daily practice that will rewire your people-pleasing patterns. This isn't theory. This is practical shadow work that creates lasting change. Morning practice. The authentic intention. Before checking your phone, before starting your day, ask yourself, how do I want to show up authentically today? Not how you should show up, not how others want you to show up, how your authentic self wants to engage with the world. Jung believed that setting conscious intention prevents the unconscious patterns from taking over. Tomorrow morning, before looking at your phone, ask yourself this question and write down the answer. Just one sentence. Midday, check in, the shadow spot. Set a phone alarm for midday. When it goes off, ask, what have I felt today that I haven't expressed? Notice without judgment. If you felt irritated with a co-worker but smiled instead, just notice. If you wanted to decline an invitation but said yes, just notice. This builds what Jung called conscious awareness, the ability to see your patterns in real time. Evening practice, the integration process. This is where the real transformation happens. Every evening, complete this process. 1. Shadow acknowledgement. Write down 3 things you felt today that you didn't express authentically. Be specific. I felt annoyed when John interrupted me, but I smiled and let it go. I felt excited about my idea, but I downplayed it when sharing with the team. I felt overwhelmed by my mother's request, but I agreed anyway. 2. The projection question. For each suppressed feeling, ask, if someone expressed this feeling to me, how would I really react? Often you'll discover that you're projecting your own harsh judgments onto others. You assume they'll be as critical of your authenticity as you are. 3. The integration commitment. Choose one suppressed feeling and commit to expressing it appropriately tomorrow, not aggressively, not apologetically, authentically. 4. The individuation affirmation end with Jung's core insight. I am becoming who I truly am, and this serves everyone. Commit to this evening practice for the next 7 days. If you're serious about change, comment below with 7 days. This creates accountability. Weekly practice. The relationship audit. Every Sunday, review your key relationships and ask, where am I being inauthentic to keep the peace? What am I afraid this person will see about me? How can I be more genuine while still being respectful? Jung found that people-pleasers often maintain superficial harmony while building deep resentment. The weekly audit prevents this pattern, the resistance phase. Here's what Jung discovered. When you start practicing authenticity, you'll face internal resistance. The ego doesn't want to change. It's invested in the people-pleasing identity. Common resistance thoughts. This is selfish. I'm hurting people. Nobody will like the real me. Jung called this the dark night of the soul, the period when you're letting go of false identity but haven't fully embraced authentic identity. This is normal. It's actually a sign that the work is working. Remember, you're not becoming a different person. You're becoming who you actually are underneath the people-pleasing mask. Section 5. Real-world applications and scenarios. Let's get practical. Here are real scenarios people-pleasers face and how to apply Jung's principles. Scenario 1. The unreasonable request. Your boss asks you to work late again, even though you've already worked late 3 times this week. People-pleaser response. Of course. No problem at all. Integrated response. I understand this is important. I can't stay late tonight, but I can prioritize it first thing tomorrow. Will that work? Notice, you're acknowledging their need while honoring your boundary. This is shadow integration, using your capacity for disappointment appropriately. Scenario 2. The guilt trip. A friend says, I guess you're too busy for our friendship, when you decline a social invitation. People-pleaser response: immediate apology and agreement to attend despite not wanting to. Integrated response: I value our friendship, which is why I want to be present when we spend time together. I can't do tonight, but I'd love to plan something for next week. You're refusing to take responsibility for their emotional manipulation while affirming the relationship. Call to action 10. Think of a situation where you typically give in to guilt trips. Practice the integrated response out loud right now, even if you're alone. This creates new neural pathways. Scenario 3. The family obligation. Your family expects you to attend every gathering, even when it conflicts with your needs or values. People-pleaser response: attend resentfully, complaining to others, but never addressing it directly. Integrated response: I won't be able to make it this time, but I'm looking forward to the next opportunity to connect. No justification, no over-explanation, no apology for having other priorities. Scenario 4. The oversharer. Someone constantly dumps their problems on you, expecting you to fix or absorb their emotions. People-pleaser response: listen endlessly, offer solutions, feel drained and resentful. Integrated response: I can see this is really difficult for you. Have you considered talking to a professional about this? You're showing compassion while refusing to be their unpaid therapist. The key principle in all scenarios. Jung taught that authentic relating requires what he called differentiation, the ability to maintain your separateness while staying connected. You can care about someone without taking responsibility for their emotions. You can disappoint someone without being cruel. You can have boundaries without being selfish. You can be authentic without being aggressive. Common mistakes in application. Mistake 1. Going from people-pleasing to people-dismissing. This is just shadow possession in the opposite direction. Mistake 2. Over-explaining your boundaries. When you justify excessively, you're still seeking approval. Mistake 3. Expecting others to celebrate your new authenticity. Some people benefited from your people-pleasing and won't like the change. The integration success marker. You'll know the integration is working when disappointing others becomes neutral rather than terrifying. Not enjoyable, that would be shadow possession, but neutral. Just a normal part of authentic relating. Choose one relationship where you've been people-pleasing. Decide on one small way you'll be more authentic this week. Write it down. Jung found that small, consistent acts of authenticity create more change than dramatic confrontations. The unconscious responds to consistent patterns, not isolated events. Section 6. The transformation timeline and closing. Based on Jung's clinical observations and modern applications of his work, here's what to expect. Week 1 to 2. Awareness. Phase. You'll become acutely aware of how often you people please. This can feel overwhelming. You're seeing patterns that have been unconscious for years. Week 3 to 4. Resistance phase. You'll face internal resistance and possibly external pushback. People who benefited from your people-pleasing may not support your changes. Month 2 to 3. Integration phase. Small acts of authenticity become easier. You start experiencing the relief of being genuine. Month 4 to 6. Individuation phase. You develop what Jung called conscious relating, the ability to be authentically caring without being compulsive about it, beyond 6 months. Transcendence. Phase. Authenticity becomes your natural state. You can navigate conflicts, disappointments, and differences with centered presence. Call to action 12. If you're committed to this transformation, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. The journey of individuation is lifelong, and I'll be creating more content to support you. Remember Sarah from the beginning? After 8 months of this practice, she transformed her life. She learned to say no at work and got promoted because her contributions became more strategic. She set boundaries with friends and developed deeper, more genuine relationships. She stopped apologizing for existing and started advocating for herself. Most importantly, she discovered that being authentic didn't make her selfish. It made her genuinely loving in a way that served everyone. Final Jung quote, "The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are." Your daily practice starts now. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I feel today that I didn't express authentically? Just notice, don't try to fix everything at once. Tomorrow, before checking your phone, ask, how do I want to show up authentically today? And remember, you're not becoming someone new. You're becoming who you've always been underneath the mask of people-pleasing. Leave a comment below with one feeling you suppressed today. No explanation needed, just the feeling. This is your first act of authentic expression in this community. The shadow you've been running from contains the very qualities that will set you free. Jung knew this. Now you know it too. Your authentic self is not selfish. It's essential. Not just for you, but for everyone whose life you touch. The world doesn't need another people-pleaser. It needs you, the real you. Start today.